Bonjour and welcome to French 2 with Mr. McCoy. This is lesson 6b, dedicated in particular to verbs like sortir. Now you saw in your last segment the regular IR verb conjugation, that is, you learn how to conjugate verbs like choisir, finir, agir, réussir, and so forth. Our learning objective for this lesson is for you to be able to conjugate in the present tense the irregular verb sortir, and also to be familiar with a handful of other verbs which are somewhat frequently used in French. Okay, this handful of verbs which are also irregular, they follow, in a sense, a pattern or the example of sortir. Okay, so as I said, what we saw in the last segment, 6a, was the regular IR verb conjugation. That is the pattern that regular IR verbs follow. Okay, so we're talking about a verb as being a regular IR verb. You know it's going to be following this pattern. Okay, we saw, for example, you drop off the IR. For example, for grandir, grandir, to get bigger, drop off the IR, as I did here. Notice how you have the same stem, grand. You have the endings which I wrote in red. Okay, so again, you learned in the last segment. Je grandis, tu grandis, il grandit, nous grandissons, vous grandissez, ils grandissent. Okay, hopefully you're on your way to mastering that. Okay, that's a regular IR verb pattern. Okay, an example of the paradigm. Okay, so notice once we dropped off the IR, we had a constant stem, grand, G-R-A-N-D. Okay, that didn't change from person to person. Okay, it was constant. Okay, you have it in all 6 forms. Okay, let's see what happens a little bit differently with the verb sortir. Sortir. Okay, this is most frequently used in an intransitive sense, to go out. It can also mean to take something out of something. Okay, but most often we use it to go out. Okay, check out what we have going on right here. Notice how in the singular forms, okay, our stem is actually sors, S-O-R, sors. We have je sors, tu sors, il sort. Okay? But then notice how we have a different stem in the plural forms. Your stem here is S-O-R-T, sort. Okay? So we have nous sortons, vous sortez, il sort. Okay? Je sors, tu sors, il sort, nous sortons, vous sortez, il sort. Okay? So notice, for example, we learned the ER verbs. The il and il forms, third person singular plural forms, sound the same. Okay? Here, they don't. Okay? Il sort, il sort. Remember your rule in French, don't pronounce your final consonants. Okay? So again, repeat with me. Sortir, sortir, je sors, tu sors, il sort, nous sortons, vous sortez, il sort. Okay? So in other words, for example, you drop off your IR, you get these forms. Drop off the next letter also to get the singular stem. Okay? Here's another verb that follows the same pattern. Mentir, to lie, or to tell a lie. Okay? Again, you have the IR. If you want to think about it this way, you drop off the IR, that gives you your plural stem. Ment. Okay? We gotta go even further if you're gonna get your singular stem. Okay? A little bit further. You have je mens, tu mens, il ment, nous mentons, vous mentez, il ment. Okay? Alright, so you see, if you want to call it this, you could call it a stem changing verb. Okay? You have a singular stem and a plural stem. Okay? Je mens, tu mens, il ment, nous mentons, vous mentez, il ment. Okay? Another example. Servir. Servir, to serve something, for example, to somebody. Okay? Again, drop off the last 3, for example, to get your singular stem. S-E-R. Drop off the IR to get the plural stem. S-E-R-V. Okay? So again, you have je sers, tu sers, il sert, nous servons, vous servez, ils servent. Okay. Je sers, tu sers, il sert, nous servons, vous servez, ils servent. Okay. Alright, another common one you guys might like. Dormir. Dormir, to sleep. Okay? Again, think about it real quick. Apply the same pattern. Okay? Your singular forms. Drop off last three letters. Keep this. Dor. Plural forms. Drop off the IR. Does that make sense? Can you imagine that? Okay? In singular forms, you'd have dropping off the NIR. Je dors, tu dors, il dort. In the plural forms, all you do is drop off the IR and add the endings. Nous dormons, vous dormez, ils dorment. Okay? Okay? So, here's a brief list of the most common verbs which are going to kind of belong to this family, going to behave this way. Again, sortir, sentir, partir, which means to leave, okay? Mentir, to lie, to tell a lie. Dormir, servir, okay? So again, these are going to be the most common. Okay, you'll see these fairly often. You also see other verbs which basically have these forms with some kind of prefix, okay? So for example, repartir, to leave again, you probably see, okay? S'endormir, to fall asleep, okay? Again, same thing with a prefix, okay? They'd be conjugated the same way, okay? So again, the idea, as I mentioned in the last segment, okay? Try to recognize these as irregular, okay? It'll probably be easier to recognize these as irregular than try to memorize all the other verbs ending in IR which are regular, okay? If that makes sense, okay? Get these down, maybe make like flashcards with a certain color, like the same color. You can make an association, okay? But these are going to be conjugated like the verb sortir, okay? That slight stem change, okay? Before I wrap this up, make sure we didn't really talk about this verb in class, but we just throw it out right quick. He is not conjugated like this. He's not regular either. Okay, it's a venir, to come, an irregular, often used verb, but doesn't behave like choisir or sortir, for that matter. Okay, so again, invest some time. Okay, write out the forms, pronounce them out loud, repeat after me on the tape. Okay, on the video. Bonne chance, bon courage, merci et au revoir.